Welcome back. It's exactly 11:33. We are now going to be talking about a terminology that I have just come across recently. It is called, it is entitled Overstimulation on Parents. And we are going to be talking with Dr. Victorine Mbong Shu. She is a registered coach and mentor, and I have had the privilege of interacting with her on many occasions in the past. So wonderful having Dr. Victorine on show once again. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Auntie Jay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm overwhelmed because I didn't know you were the interviewer today.
Okay. A lovely surprise both ways. I trust that you and the family are doing well. But of course, we are going to be talking something new, and I should maybe not so new, but something important. So let me kick off right away. For those unfamiliar with the term, what exactly is parental overstimulation?
I was also taken aback when I got that topic as the interview topic, but I was very excited because it is a reality of the fact that parenting is faster than before, parenting is louder than before, and the expectations on parenting are heavier than before. So basically, that's the definition: heavier, louder, and faster.
Oh, it sounds overwhelming. But having said that, what would you say are the most common signs that a parent is experiencing overstimulation, even if they don't realize it?
Thank you so much. That's a very beautiful question to begin with. The first thing is when you feel overwhelmed. When you feel like parenting is a burden, then you have to start understanding that something is not right. The second thing is when you're constantly maybe shouting at your children or constantly feeling as a terrible parent, then you feel like something is not right. And the third one is when you constantly or suddenly start feeling like you would do better for the next second when you're not parenting. Those are three very important signs.
And it's frightening because parents have other responsibilities. They have responsibilities to provide financially for the
Mhm.
family. They've got to go out, they've got to work, they've got to make the money, they've got to see that they provide the best that they possibly can to keep
Mhm.
this family safe. And
Mhm.
then they undergo this overstimulation. What do
Mhm.
what ought they be doing? Because if they don't address it, there's going to be issues of meltdowns, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah. I actually had a talk last weekend with a group of women, and I emphasized the fact of the importance of community involvement in parenting. I often would say to parents, it's very important that you invite other people in your space. And these other people do not only have to come in physically, they could even come in digitally today with digital facilities that we have. So basically, to help with overstimulation in parenting, I advise parents to create a parenting community with people that have two things in common with them, and but so many other things could play. The two most important one would be people who either have children around their own children's ages or people who have just parented children beyond, so whose children are slightly older, because these people have first class experience, but also the experiences are still very fresh in their minds. And the second is people in their similar circumstances. And similar circumstances could be stay at home mothers, for instance. It could be mothers in their 30s, for instance. It could be working mothers, for instance. It could be single mothers. It could be divorcee. It could be widows. So many circumstances that you find similar to yours. Those should be the second aspects that you look into when you engage in this physical or digital community of support. And then also look into your family. Auntie J, you are a grandmother. I remember that, and I know that you're very involved in parenting your grandchildren. So I would tell people to look at grandparents' roles, which is a very big finding in my PhD research. A very big finding is that grandparents continue to influence how parenting is done in South Africa. And I think people should take that seriously. Grandparents, aunties, cousins without neglecting the fact that the community that you bring into your space, into your parenting space, could become a pawn to you. They could become abusers. They could become bullies. They could become other things. So while you seek help, also look out for pointers that this help might be healthy or not.
You actually just preempted my second question regarding the grandparents' role in supporting overstimulated parents without
Mm,
being intrusive, because there is that element of perhaps the grandparents, and I'm sure it's, out of deep love and concern for this family unit. But they could become intrusive at some point. So, would you say that a discussion needs to happen with parents and grandparents, possibly even with the children included, and talk about boundaries, maybe?
Thank you, Auntie J. Again, very good point. Boundaries are very important. But I think in my research, sorry, I keep referring to that. I recently became a doctor in family communication, but
Wow, congrats.
particularly, yeah, but particularly family sex communication, right? And you cannot talk communication without talking boundaries. So I really, really do encourage that they don't only talk about intrusion, but they talk about evolution. Intrusion is good, but evolution is more important in the sense that most grandparents want to parent their grandchildren in the same way that they had parented their children, and they forget about the passage of time. So this actually sometimes causes resentment much more than love from the side of the grandchildren, because they do not understand the archaic, in bracket or in quote, way of parenting that the grandparents comes in. So apart from communication, what I mean to say is that they should also have education, with intent of empowering the grandparents on how to parent children of today, but also empowering the children to understand the grandparents' way of parenting or where the grandparents are coming from. A common way to do that is to talk about language, to talk about lingo, Auntie Jane. You know that a lot of evolution has taken place in tone of communication, in words of communication. And these children today would not understand when you say to them, come here. They might think you're screaming, but you're not screaming. So, yeah, so small things like those.
In your work as a coach and a mentor, what have you found to be the most frequent cause or causes of overstimulation in modern parenting? Parenting or parenting, both pronunciations are correct. So, depending which one you'd like to use.
Mm,
And very especially, I've noticed over time that men are becoming, young men of today, young fathers, seem to be affected in, to a greater degree than women. It seems that the women are the girls or the women seem to be able to cope, but the men can't. They become very, very easily irritated.
mm, mm. Auntie J, that beautiful question leads me to start with the response that, remember, tradition, culture does not present a father as a nurturer. Culture presents a father as a provider. So most often, when fathers particularly start getting into the role of nurturing children, obviously they get exhausted because they now start learning what their parents did not teach them, on how to parent. Similarly, with women increasingly flogging the workforce, women were not providers. Most women are not groomed to provide, they are groomed to nurture. So now, with the providing role, it's becoming extremely difficult for these women to provide and nurture successfully. Hence, that struggle, sorry, in juggling roles in both cases, father and mother, the role of a parent, the role of an employee, employer, the role of a friend, the role of a relationship partner, it had become too much for them.
Earlier on, you spoke about the community, and I know back in the day, we in the Indian culture, in the African culture, we always spoke about it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm,
That seems to, with modernity, that seems to have fallen away.
yeah,
And when we do bring people into our spaces to assist with the rearing and the support of
so,
families and child rearing, the
mm,
other big the other big issue with modern society is the issue around abuse of children.
mm,
It would be physical, mental, and even sexual abuse.
yeah,
So that's a very huge issue. And how do we go about responding? How do we also talk to grandparents, bring them into the conversation about sexual abuse being perpetrated on our children in our absence? So I'd like you to respond to that because it is a pretty heavy question.
mm,
You will apply your mind. Let's go for an ad break while you think about that. Not
I
that you
love
need
that.
time to think, not
I
that
love
you
that.
need it. You think on your toes, but we need
I
to take
love
an
that.
ad break.
Yeah.
Of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
World-class financial services only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
The chaos and destruction in the Gaza Strip is beyond comprehension. Virtually everyone is displaced, hungry, and in urgent need of life-saving humanitarian support. The Al-Imdad Foundation has been working tirelessly to address the health, nutrition, and water needs of the population. Our hospital, water deliveries, and hot meal programs are made possible with your support. Your donation, big or small, is a lifeline for those in dire need. Help Gaza survive. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Dr. Victorine Mbong Shu is my guest. I hope I got that right. I always had a problem with pronouncing your surname, but do forgive me. After all of that time, I still haven't seemed to get it right. But anyway, be that as it may, Victorine, would you like to respond to the question I gave you just now?
Yes. Thank you for giving me time to think about it. It's a culturally loaded and religiously impactful question to answer. And without offense to anyone or any culture or religion, I want to put it clear that sex communication is something that I really, really advocate families to communicate. And you, in your question, had opened it up. You had said all type of abuse. It's not just sexual. So let me start with the sexual one because it's the heavier one of all, or heaviest of all. Particularly children. If you look at the percentage of people who abuse or assault children, you would see that a majority is people that these children know. A majority is people that come from family or friend groupings of these children. So the most important thing that you do is communication. I always say to parents, you should create a home where there is open and transparent communication. Build trust with your children before you even try to build that trust with external elements, external people. When you have those external people, have open communication with them and also build trust. But make people understand boundaries. When I did my research, there is I don't know, I don't want to use that, but a theory that guides how family communication should be governed. You know, it's called communication privacy management, where it teaches you how to teach children what kind of information is theirs and what kind of information can be disclosed outside to family members and all the like. You know, it teaches you how to teach children boundaries. So I'm focusing my effort now to teach families on this because what I have come to understand is that once parents and older family members understand and embrace communication, it is easy for them to then lead their children and these other family members into safe spaces. And this includes communication on money, this includes communication on bullying. This includes every form of communication that lead to that avoids every form of abuse that you can encounter in a family setting. The most important thing is to make sure that your children are aware of what boundaries are, that your children can recognize when their boundaries are being abused, and that your children can come running to you to tell you without fear of judgment, without fear of mistrust, that you are going to address the circumstances that they are going through. And then lastly, also make the people or the adult people around your children aware that yours is a communicative family and that you would not take any abuse kindly, and that with their cooperation, you would look forward to dealing with every abuser. You know, make that clear to everyone around you. They should understand your principles, they should understand your ethics, and you should also put yourself in a way that you are working as a team, not against each other.
That also then suggests that the question was loaded, but the response is equally loaded,
Mhm.
and then you kind of wonder. And I know that counselors and psychologists often say that when you share information or when you kind of almost preparing your children to go out into the big bad world, how they should, about boundaries and how they should keep themselves safe. And we're often told use child appropriate language. But when is it the best time to start teaching your kids to be body safe and just safe as a whole?
TJ, the danger in our community is that we wait until we see a child going through signs, then we start talking. So your question is very important because parents have to talk before then. They have to instigate communication, but they also have to follow cues, you know. So there is never a best time. It's like asking me, when is the best time for a child to start walking? Every child starts walking when their nerves are strong enough to walk. So this is what I always say to parents. Watch the signs in your children, watch the signs in the environment. A typical example is that I would easily say to you, start at adolescent, which is the age of 10. But I cannot do that because today children are menstruating from the age of 7, 8, and 9. You know, so how do you then wait for a child who started menstruating at 7, 8, or 9 to start talking menstruation with them at the age of 10? You cannot do that. Follow the cues of your child's development and talk accordingly. I did attempt to teach my 10-year-old about erections, and I failed because he didn't know erections. But what happened was that when he came to understand erections, he easily came to me to say to me, Mom, I now understand what you were saying. My penis gets firm, and I wake up in the morning and it is straight. So I don't know if I won or lost at that point, but I did fail because I started early and I did it repeatedly about 3 times. He never understood what I was saying. So now when he came back to me to talk about it, I then went deeper to talk to him about erection, knowing that he now understands what erection is. So that is just an
Can I
example
come
to
in
say,
here, Dr. Victorine? Can I come in here?
please do.
Should that discussion not have been between father and son rather than mother and son?
Very important question. When I had to teach my son how to wear a condom, I sent my husband to do it. And my husband was very uncomfortable. And I said to my husband, I cannot do that because I'll need to touch his penis or I'll make it visual for him. You go do it. But the way the world is now, if you are waiting for one partner to lead that conversation, then your children are really going to suffer from information defect because in a relationship like mine, in a marriage like mine, I am very ready to talk, whereas my husband is not ready. Family-led communication should not be bound by gender anymore in a world where boys are now acting like girls and girls are now acting like boys. So I feel like in my personal capacity, your religion might guide you, your culture might guide you, many other things, your personal values. But in my personal capacity and in the research that I just concluded, I feel like sexual communication cannot be gender bound anymore.
Okay, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. The all important question, what final advice would you give to parents listening right now who feel like they're always on and struggling to cope? They so, when I say on, highly strung because they're guilt driven, they're not coping, and
Mm,
they feel they're failing their children. So,
mm.
what advice do we give them?
Mm, beautiful question. From my point of view, as a working woman, a businesswoman, a mother of 4 children, somebody who has just studied through this and who is also struggling financially, I would have to say that you need to spend time to know yourself, because when you don't do that, you feel like the rest of the world is surviving while you're struggling. So spend time with yourself, spend time, understand your circumstances before you can actually determine. Do not rely on what people tell you to do because nobody wears your shoes.
Men, we know in our communities, in our society, men are very reluctant to go for therapy or coaching or counseling. In a situation such as the one we've just discussed now, how do we get our men, our sons, our brothers, our fathers to go out to get the necessary counseling to be able to
Mm,
deal with their family matters in a more responsible way and not feel like they are failures?
Lovely question. Um, Communication. I'll always go back to communication. I would always tell you, talk with your partner, talk with your son, talk with your brother, but also go an extra mile and prove to them that this can help. Nobody is fixated to their environment. Everyone knows that change is the hardest, but most often the best thing to do to yourself. So talk to them, give example if you do have. If you do not have example, seek a specialist, get that specialist to talk to them and get that specialist to illustrate to them how beneficial this is without being very adamant that they are coming from a better position, but rather being adamant that the information that they want this person to open up to is going to help them.
Dr. Victorine Mbong Shu, a registered coach and mentor, talking to us today about overstimulation on parents. It's been fascinating just having this discussion with you once again. I hope to have many more discussions in the future. Go well, and my love to your family.
To you too, Auntie J. Thank you so much.
It is exactly 11:57. We are moving along, and next we're going to be talking mental health. So stay with us.